Hello guys, in this new video I am going to show you Panasonic Lumix S1H, the best mirrorless camera for video 2022. I will keep Amazon links updated with the best price in the video description below. Panasonic's full-frame S1H is the best mirrorless camera on the market for video. With a dual ISO sensor, 60 frames per second, even 5K video along with 5-axis image stabilization, and brilliant viewfinders is simply our specs. Everything else on top of that S1H cemented its video bona fides as the first ever mirrorless camera approved for Netflix productions. I'm very curious and I'm sure you're too to see what the S1H is really capable of. At $4,000, it will be a pretty tempting option for low-budget film and TV producers, especially given the artistic possibilities of a full-frame sensor. With a flip-around screen, it looks like vloggers with some money and muscle will consider this big camera to all that's eye. The S1H isn't perfect and there are a lot of good options in its price range. The most noticeable thing about this camera is its brutish size. At 2.5 pounds, it dwarfs all other mirrorless cameras in bulk and weight. It's even large for a DSLR, outweighing Canon's 5D Mark. For that size would be too much for casual photographers, but it isn't a deal breaker for pro video shooters. On the contrary, the exercise made it more stable for handheld shooting, plus the large grip. It is easy to hold on to run and gun cinematography with all that space. Panasonic was able to put in tons of physical controls. It has an LCD info screen joystick, and front and back control dials, and separate physical controls for autofocus and shooting modes on rare occasions. The Panasonic system is better than most though. The S1 models have the best ergonomics of any mirrorless camera right now soon. To say this camera is decked out for so makers. And not only has a very high resolution, very high refresh electronic viewfinder, but there is a display that is actually overkill and only flips around, actually tilts up and down as well, making it possible to do low angle and other types of shooting problems. With that is it sticks out a little bit from the back of the camera, and it adds a little bit of extra weight compared to the S1. All told though, this is an excellent vlogging camera, as it has a flip around screen, has a microphone input, it has an in-body stabilizer and really everything you need. The only problem with it is that it's just a little bit on the heavy side on top of a Type-C USB port for charging and data transfers. The SD has a full-sized HDMI port that's also ideal for filming with an external recorder, as it's less likely to follow it than a smaller HDMI cable. You also get a pair of SD UHS-2 cards. It's that can easily handle the camera's high 400 megabytes per second video data rate. The S1H does have a large battery, but because of the big sensor it only delivers 400 shots on a charge. You can shoot videos for about 2 hours, which is impressive. Considering the video quality and data rates, the S1H is designed for video rather than photography. However, it can handle stills just as well because of the dual ISO system. It's actually better in low-end video. The S1H can shoot in bursts at 9 frames per second or 6 frames per second with continuous autofocus. For a video set, your camera, it's not bad like all Panasonic mirrorless cameras. The S1H has a contrast detect autofocus system called depth from defocus with 225 points. It's not quite as fast or accurate as phase detection systems. Even in slightly dim light, it reliably locks onto static or moving subjects with continuous autofocus. The face and eye detection follows human and animal subjects. The focus itself is sometimes slow to catch up. Overall AF is solid. One of the reasons this camera is so big because of the 5-axis in-body stabilization. If you use it with a stabilized lens, you'll get up to 6 stops of shake reduction, letting you shoot sharp shots even in low light. It's not quite as effective for video, as we will see shortly and speak about the video. That's where this camera really crushes other mirrorless pretenders. You can shoot 4K at 30 frames per second, using the entire sensor with oversampling and no line. Skipping it even handle 5.9K at 4 frames per second, and anamorphic 6K video at 24p. All of this video is available with 10-bit color for maximum editing flexibility. If you want the Netflix stamp of approval though, you'll need to shoot in vlog mode, using the all-I 400 megabits per second data rate. That's only available for 4K and DCI 4K video at up to 30 and not 5.9K 6K, or 60 frames per second. The video quality, as you can imagine, is nearly flawless at the highest quality settings. It's extremely sharp in skin tones and colors. Look Natural Vlog Mode delivers 14 stops of dynamic range. And with a 10-bit color you have plenty of creative choices and posts. You can also use those settings to create HDR videos. The dual ISO system gives it incredible low light capability, as good as I found the dual ISO on the GH5s. The full-frame S1H has bigger pixels that can absorb more light. Amazingly, video and photos are usable with acceptable noise levels at up to ISO 25600 and even beyond. What's the most interesting for cinematographers is the large sensor. You will be able to use it to create an intense bokeh, especially with a fast lens. In fact, this camera has a shallower depth of field than most other models approved by Netflix. You could see producers choosing the A1H for its artistic possibilities, not just because it's cheap and relatively small as with photos. The video autofocus is good but not great. However, for regular shooting, vlogging, stand-ups and other chores, it does the job. Well, it's true that professional crude productions will generally use cinema lenses and pull focus manually. The S1H doesn't measure up to those models in that way, but it's not bad and it's a lot cheaper. One drawback is that if you try to move the camera too much when filming, the IBS makes the image bounce when it hits the limits. Panasonic has become indispensable for many vloggers and filmmakers. The S1H will achieve that status, sure. It's double the price, but it has double the capability. Lets you create images with incredible quality and bokeh that no other camera can touch. Its filmmaking is your thing, and if you have $4,000, yes, I wouldn't hesitate. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more videos. And maybe consider subscribing if you don't want to miss my future content.